Good turnaround Tuesday, everybody. Hello, Hugo, Jays, Brock, how are you, buddy? Paul, how are you? Mary, nice to meet you. Welcome to F.A.C.E. Okay. Everything good? All right, so crude made a new high. Everyone see the charts okay? And hope everyone's signing up to get their account with our trader funding program. No chart? Okay. Stop that share. All right, so crude is the only market that has taken out the reversal we had on the day of the invasion, right? Gold hasn't, right? It's actually failing, you know. This could be a flag. It's the only thing that bothers me. But, you know, the real feature that we have here happening that is, you know, a lot of people, you know, didn't think it could happen, but yields, check it out. So, you know, we've come off 30 bips from the high, should be pressuring the yen, and it is a little bit. I know some guys are talking about 150 down here, and then another move to the upside towards 250. I know some people that are talking under 1%, which sounds impossible since the Fed hasn't even done anything yet, right? So anyway, I'm thinking for the Fed, thinking ahead that whatever they do, and if it causes some type of short-term pop in yields, that would most likely be a selling opportunity after the Fed. So Ryan, what do you think? Yields, I know you pay close attention to them.
Yeah.
And you think, you know, now that we're getting this kind of candle on the daily, that, you know, this part of the move cycle is over in the face of the Fed having not done anything yet but jawbone?
No, I think what we're seeing is a step up in the risk side of things. You know, more of a flight to safety. You know, we had the meetings yesterday, Russia and Ukraine, which didn't yield much, but they're going to talk again. But in the meantime, it's gone back to bombs and bullets flying, unfortunately. And the language just coming out today is getting a bit more heated, and I think that's seeing across the whole of the yield space. It's seeing a bigger pickup in a run to safety.
Okay.
You know, we're seeing the M pairs offered as well.
I mean, the S&Ps are. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go on.
The S&Ps are 200 handles above the invasion low.
They are.
You know,
I dare to think where this might be going today.
Yeah, maybe another drive down here.
It's more than possible. We as I say, we keep getting these swings in risk. You know, 1 minute it doesn't mean much, and then the next it just the weight grows a bit, and that's what we're seeing today. You know, with the movements in Ukraine,
oil.
And various ministers are saying oil. You know, obviously we've got OPEC and the OPEC squad and the rest of them saying that it's likely to be unchanged on production amount. So, you know, no increase in production to offset high prices, and that's another green light for oil.
You know who isn't going to cut production?
You lot.
Uh-huh.
You lot. Everyone's not going to cut production.
Yeah, but who especially needs hard currency?
Yeah, well, obviously Russia.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, and Biden said that they're thinking about sanctions on energy, and that's kind of a message that keep pumping.
Yeah,
Vladimir.
Well, he can backdoor it, can't he? He can backdoor his oil out to China and you know, all the other Russian states and former states. So it's not such a, you know, obviously the West buys a lot and takes a lot from him, but if he needs to pay the bills and get money in, he's still got plenty of avenues out the back door.
Yeah, if I could just think of one market that would benefit so many different types of powers, except for the producers, it would be a break in oil would solve a lot of problems here for the president, for Paul, and I even think Russia's ally China would welcome them. So once someone starts cheating, and even if it's Russia, no one's going to let them try and take market share. I'm
No,
sure
but
he's. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
if we start stepping into the energy stuff, obviously Europe's at huge risk because of the gas supplies.
Yeah.
And so far that's not a step they've been even willing to get close to, because then things are getting serious. You can forget trying to keep a handle on inflation. If Russia stops gas supplies and whatnot, we'll be seeing double digits, over the next few months. So it's, there's still a way to go before, before the shit really hits the fan. I mean, it's
like 120. Everyone's saying 120, 115. I mean, a lot of people, and they've been saying it for a while. It's probably the most crowded trade because who wants to take the other side of something like this besides a Meshuggah like me? Right? You know what Meshuggah means?
Yeah, crazy man.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. See, you didn't even invite me to your bar mitzvah. So anyway, what do you think about again? Here we are pushing the downside in the euro.
Yeah, but again, we're talking about these moves, but there's nothing. We're not seeing 200 pip drops and swings and jumps. So it's still pretty well contained. We say yields are taking the brunt of it today, and we could see stocks follow suit. But in FX, we're still walking the lines. Euro dollar, unless it gets down to that 111 level that we've tried a couple of times, it's still just mooching around. I've been surprised about Aussie dollar. It's been pretty resilient.
It really has.
It's clawed its way up. We've got some decent longer term moving averages going on that I've been pointing out in the room.
About in Aussie,
that
they're starting to clear.
100 DMA we had at 38 odd. We've got the 100 weekly moving average at 72.90. We've got the 55 monthly moving average at 72.53, and that's where we're sort of finding a bit of a base at the moment. And if we can crack through this 90 to 73 to 73.20 zone, then we could get a run up towards that 74 level that we've been eyeing for a while. But it keeps coming back, doesn't it? It's every time it gets a dip.
Yeah, it's a strength against the dollar.
Yeah,
strong cable was, and I think Aussie has replaced the king.
Yeah, and the data's picking up as well. Coming out of the virus situation, and that puts a lot of focus on the RBA, which is one of the things I've been trading for a few months now. It could be a flyer if the situation gets resolved and we remove that risk event from the table. But you could say the same for other pairs as well. We get back to trading.
When does the RBA meet?
Yesterday. Last night. Yeah, it was a nothing meeting. We're pretty much waiting for wages to get above or hit their target. They forecast yearly wages at 2.75%, I think it is, and we're somewhere at 2.4%. So we'll see how that develops over the next few months.
And you were right, Brian, about waiting here on EG.
Yeah, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're still what? We're still pretty far away from that. Well, here's that spike low.
Yeah, 83, 84 is about the ballpark at the moment. We need, we keep getting close. And it's funny how you have a big level like that showed up before the spike lower. It took the Bank of England to nudge it below, and then bang, it reversed, and then bang, a level becomes strong again. The buyers stepping in down there, very strong action. and it could go either way from here.
Yeah.
To be honest, we could get a break of 83, or we could get a smash up through 84 again. But the longer term trend, is still in play. And touch wood and talking my book, I hope that's down in the first instance.
What are you doing in the ruble today, man?
Good luck trading it. Good luck finding a broker to trade it. You sit back and watch it with a popcorn.
Look at the Russian stock market before they closed it.
Yeah.
Look at these ETFs.
Pick a number.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know when they're going to reopen.
You know, in the old days, Dale, on the floors and stuff, you used to get the market, what the market's going to do in the pre-market, and you think, oh yeah, it could be open down,
limit down, limit up, that stuff. You mean?
This one, you just pick a number out of a hat, don't you? How far down it's going to open, or how far up dollar ruble is going to open. Yeah,
GMO orders. Anyway, very interesting times. Is Stel around?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Stel.
Hey.
So, what do you think, metals wise? I mean,
they're still underperforming. They're still underperforming in a big way, and gold still has not broken 1920. And really, if you didn't look at charts and somebody told you, a month ago that this was going to happen, you would say gold new all-time highs. So it's underperforming. The question now is, why is it underperforming, and what do we think is going to happen? My view. I think that, we do know that gold and silver has been probably the worst performers in all of the commodity space the last 12 months. So they have a lot of catching up to do.
Do you think it could be Russian selling?
It could be. We do know that Russia have a huge stockpile of gold. Maybe they're selling. Maybe, we don't know. That's the question. Yeah. That's the problem.
I don't know how they'd sell at the moment.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They'd have to lend it to somebody.
Well, they could use warrants. They could use the warrants to pay it.
But having said that, though, you have a situation where countries in crisis, and what can they actually? What is the asset that they can probably use easiest to get funds or to do stuff? It's going to be gold and oil. So it's those are the things that people say, oh, it's a barbarous relic and all that. Yes, but when the crap hits a fan, this is the one thing that everybody wants, and as the one thing that you can actually use. So let's not forget, this is a commodity which has value, and so I still think they're underperforming. Hence my hesitation in getting longer. I have just under half of the position I want to have in gold and silver and miners, and I'm still waiting. And if I have to buy the big breakout, all-time highs, I will buy that if I have to. But I'm not going to be too early, in trying to jump the gun, because you can easily be, 10-20% offside on something like that before the trade goes your way. So, I agree with Blake. He's been talking about this for a while. Metals are underperforming. They're doing well today, but they should have been doing a lot better. So that's what I think about metals. Now, the question is yields. 10-year US 175. Yeah. And the Fed in 2 weeks' time is going to hike. Probability of a 50 hike is 0 now, which makes sense. We talked about that. Okay, yes, Ukraine has happened, so that changed things. But 25 is priced in, and all else unchanged, the Fed is going to be sticking to its plan. I think. I don't think that this situation is going to cause the Fed to veer from the plan, simply because, look, inflation is going, if anything, is going to be going higher now. So, oil triple digits, and well done, Steve, for calling this. He said this a few months ago. He said, I think we're going to see oil at 100, or maybe was it a year ago or something like that, when oil was at 35 or 40, and everybody thought he was crazy. So, yes, okay, we've had this huge event.
Well, people still think he's crazy, but he's a great analyst.
He is an analyst. Anyway,
Steve's excellent.
So I think yields, drop in yields is a buying opportunity. If central banks carry on with what they've told us they're going to do, the Fed particularly, I don't see how yields can be going lower. But
here's a TLT that would really have people off sides. I think it does already. I mean, how many people were buying bonds?
Yeah.
Right.
And the
I
stops,
want-
you know, the
Go ahead.
stops are around 132 on that, right? Just below those
Yeah,
lows in
right here.
2021. Yeah, exactly. So you have to wait. You know, if you want to get long this, in my opinion, you have to wait to see if that gets tested. If we get a flush below there, that would be perfect. But I have a bullish bias on yields, but not yet. Unfortunately, I know it's not a lot of help for people who are day trading, but this is my kind of more medium-term view. And
I know you like Euro. I wanted to ask you before Blake comes in here.
Yeah.
Is, you know, it looks like we're going to attack this trend line for the third time. Okay, here's one, here's two. I'm going to try it down here.
Yeah, I said in the beginning of January, I said I think this year is going to be a Euro positive. I think it's going to be a good year for Euro. And look, we've had this move, and you know, we've had Ukraine, and the dollar will strengthen, obviously, on in cases like this. But what has it done this year? The euro dollar has actually been flat, which is you know, it's a
small victory.
Pretty good signal. Yeah, exactly. So I think, yes, I think trying along down there, you know, 110.50 or something like that, that will be you know, not a bad place to try it. But I believe in this trade, and I still think that 2022 is going to be a good year for the euro. And you know that whenever this situation gets diffused and Russia and Ukraine, I don't know how it's going to end, but if it ends in a good way, or hopefully it ends in a good way, you know that euro dollar is going to spike quite hard.
It's all going to be about the timing, eh, Stel?
It is, yes, it is. Well, I read, actually, I'm not there, obviously, but I read that there's a huge convoy heading towards Kiev. And that could really be the catalyst now. You know, if this thing is powerful enough for Russians to take over, then we could be in trouble. You know, markets could be in trouble. If not, and if Putin kind of gets, you know, I don't want to say defeated, but you know, if the advance gets stopped, then he might. Yeah, he might start thinking about compromising. You know, I don't know. I don't know is the answer. Unfortunately, I'm not a.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can compromise because he'll just get slaughtered back home. He's got to push. If he'd have stopped in the Donbass region and stopped those two towns and said, right, that's where we're drawing the line, then he's got some scale to walk it back a bit. But he's pushed on. He's got to this, or he'll get slaughtered. And
he can take the country, but it's going to be real difficult to occupy it.
Yeah. Well, how old is Putin actually? Is he like almost 70 now, or something like that? He's been in power
but he traded his horse in for Poland.
70. Okay, so basically, if this thing doesn't work out for him, you know, he obviously has this vision of uniting the old Soviet Union again. If this thing doesn't work, he can take his billions. He's the richest man in the world. Clearly,
he's 70.
He can take all his money, go to you know, Cuba or Brazil, and live a happy life. So you know. Yeah. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah, Blake, calling Blake Morrow, the president of Forex Analytics.
Hey, good morning.
How are you, buddy?
Good. I was just reading. Shoyan says there's a rumor he's got brain cancer. Well, you know, he's acting like it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little crazy. You know, Ryan, I agree with what you said earlier. I mean, it's like he's pushing pretty hard and a lot further than I thought anybody. You know, is it that he's past the point of no return now? I guess, you know what I mean. I guess that's the question. And you know, so I just want to cover just a couple of things that you guys talked about because I have to reiterate, you know, about like gold. Yeah, I'm like Stelios, like you said, I'm surprised gold is not higher. And we're back at 1920. Why aren't we at 2000 right now?
Yeah,
that is just.
But it's probably for the same reason why stocks are not a lot lower. The market's kind of pricing in that this thing was going to be over at some point, with no big global conflict. That's my view. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Well, you know, and you mentioned that, but you know what's on the radar right now. And K-Man was in the chat room earlier today to us talking about yields, and yields have come down quite a bit. Now, I want to show you the 10-year chart. This was my chart of the day. Well, let's see. If you go to the blog, and I can't remember how long ago it was, my chart of the day, February 9th, right? So on February 9th, which was right here, we hit the 618 retracement in the 10-year, and we completed an AB equals CD equal leg move, right? So we got down here, and I figured there would be a bounce. So we are now getting that bounce, or we're getting that pullback in yields. And but yields are pulling back to what I think is a pretty big level. These are pretty big levels as far as the 10-year goes. So are they going to stabilize here? I mean, what do you guys think? You know, I do, and I think that yields are going higher, but obviously they're coming down right now as bonds are being bought on more of a, you know, safe haven type of trade. So I wonder how far this is going to continue. What do you guys think?
The world is your oyster, really. You know, it's hard to put a number on it. You know, the text don't matter. You know, we've dropped from 190 to 170s, you know, in a blink. You know,
Yeah,
you got a whole load of levels, you know, in amongst the you know, the early 2022 moves that you could have picked out, and it's just carved through them. You know, there's times as traders you've got to acknowledge sometimes your charts aren't going to work. Markets like this are going to go where they want to go. And
oh yeah, technical levels matter less right now. But I guess the question is,
there's always a point where someone goes, actually, that's a price I'm willing to get in at, irrespective of the news. So I think you've got to stick to the big numbers. You know, 150 will be the big psychological barrier. We'll probably see that around 170, 160 as well.
Which is the 200-day moving average.
And it goes back to something I mentioned last week when you're looking at big event moves. You know, the big figures, the double O's and the 50s, they step up, because that's where everyone forgets. You know, if you've got a moving average at 13, no one gives a monkeys. You know, they're going to be trading against the big numbers, and that's tend to what we could possibly see in bonds as well when we're talking about yields. You know, the big numbers are the ones where the price pulls up and asks the question.
Yeah, it's going to be rather interesting to watch the markets and how they respond to this. And like I said, I do believe that Russia's at a point where they have stepped into, or Putin has gotten to a point where he's reaching a little further than I think most people believed he would. You know, what's also interesting is watching Bitcoin. I know we
you talked about that yesterday, bro. Nice call.
Yeah, thanks. Inverted head and shoulder pattern.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's completed now. And right as I'm speaking, actually, I think it is going to reverse here.
Nice move.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, in that was a beautiful. One of the things about cryptos, and you guys all should know this. Cryptos is an amazing product to trade. Technically, if you guys are technical traders, it really is just an amazing product to be trading. And do you know, I know a lot of you guys and gals are like, well, I'm in the US, I'm in an area where you can't trade cryptos, maybe to the short side. Well, I have to say this, you guys should make sure you check out the trader funding program. I'm going to copy this and put this in the chat right here, because in the trader funding program, if you qualify the assessment, which is a one-time fee, but you qualify the assessment, you will then be funded with an account based on, you know, the numbers that you choose to go for, right? Whatever account size that you choose to go for, you'll be able to trade. Even as an American, you'll be able to trade CFDs. And so crypto CFDs, like almost 400 instruments, which is pretty amazing. So, you know, if you guys are technical traders, you're like, wow, you know, I love the way cryptos trade. Yeah, check out the trader funding program, even if you're in the US, because as an American, like just trading in a crypto account, like you have to go get a Coinbase account, you have to get a margin account. It's kind of like trading stocks. You know, you need a larger amount of money to be trading on the short side of these. So if you want to be shorting Bitcoin right now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the average person. So yeah, check out the funding program when you get a chance. Now, Bitcoin had that inverted head and shoulder pattern. Really, that was pretty cool. Ethereum quite hasn't played a little bit of catch up. I got asked from Bran today. He's like, man, I hope you caught that. And I'm like, I always try to buy a little bit of Ethereum when I see cryptos are moving as a whole. I just kind of move some money in there. I'm like, but it's really not a trade. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I guess it is a trade because I'm basically moving dollars out of money out of, if I'm not specifically going out and trading an instrument, I'll just move money into Ethereum and out of dollars. But I'm like, I guess that is a trade, isn't it? It is. That's in essence what we're doing. One other thing I want to bring.
That's a definition of a trade, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking myself. I was like, yeah, it's not really a trade. Well, no, actually, it is a trade. And then I kind of laughed about it. So watch the Euro.
It's like my wife saying, "I'm not arguing with you, but you're wrong."
Yeah. It's an investment. It's an investment.
Right. Okay. So, let's keep an eye on this Euro Yen. This is really, I think we talked about this yesterday. At least I did on the Morning Edge, which is the webinar that is exclusive to the ForexAnalytix subscribers, which, by the way, if you're in the funding program, you get to jump into the ForexAnalytix community because we don't want to leave you alone. You jump into the community and you learn about different trades that we're doing and conversations and, the different chat rooms that we have. You can see all these different chat rooms, trades room and everything else. I think I was chatting about it in the Morning Edge yesterday. I'm like, this is a multi-decade trend line, and we've been here multiple times. So, the Euro Yen is at that area where you've got to start looking at it again, because we're at trendline support, could drop all the way down to 126, 127, especially in this type of environment. Obviously this is a very headline driven environment that's moving aggressively one way or the other, based on what's happening in Russia and the Ukraine, or what's happening in the Ukraine rather. So just keep that in mind. But these levels have been bought quite aggressively on many occasions. And I wouldn't be surprised if we even traded a little bit lower before bouncing, and Ryan, when you were saying, technicals don't really matter a whole lot in this type of environment. I agree with you. And there are areas though that people say that is the place that I want to own or sell something. And in this case,
definitely
the Euro Yen, if you look at this massive breakout here, this is a big breakout point right there around the 127 level. You start getting down to this area, and this is where people say, I want to be long. And that's it. It may not be a big figure area. It's just where people want to be.
There's nothing wrong with trading that at all. Just be aware that the risk that you've got in the market at the moment, you don't put your house on it. So but this pair is my headline pair of choice right now. If there's a headline flopping out, that's the one I'm smashing. Be it
you're gonna sell. What is it with you and you guys in the UK always saying smashing?
We're jobbing it, aren't we?
you guys have actually the coolest saying.
Smash and grab.
You know what? You know what? I have a teenager, and there's all sorts of new words out right now. You're dip, dab. They say all sorts of things. You know how back in our day we were like radical, cool, awesome. Yeah, they have all these weird words that they're using. It's crazy. They have a whole new vocabulary. It's like listening to these kids, I'm like, now I feel like a really old man.
I just give mine a clip around the ear in terms to speak properly.
By the way, guys, 1 minute to Canadian GDP. And I want to point out that we had inflation data, Eurozone, Germany 5.1% year on year, Italy 5.7% year on year. So nothing to see here. The ECB can keep easing as much as they like. Sarcastic, obviously, joking.
Yeah, he's obviously being sarcastic. All right, let's go over to the calendar and then pull up the data flash really quick. This is included with ForexAnalytix. So going to go over the dollar Canadian and the data as it's coming out. You'll see it right here. It's almost as fast, if not faster than Bloomberg sometimes. So that's one of the nice little features you get with ForexAnalytix. So let's wait for that data. By the way, as far as the data goes, they're looking for
0.1 month on month. We're looking for.
Huh?
We're looking for 0.1 month on month.
0.1 or flat. I think either or is.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
see
still not
it.
seeing it.
No, it's not on other sites either. So it's late. It's
Canadian
late.
GDP 6.7%.
Annualized. Okay.
That's a good number annualized.
Yep.
You guys see the month over month or quarter over quarter numbers yet?
Nope.
Don't yet either. Looking around. Month over month, 0%. So it came in 0. And then, I mean, the dollar Canadian is not moving anywhere right now.
They are Q4 numbers and December number though.
Yeah. So,
Easter.
especially for the quarter numbers, right? And good morning, K-Man. And hey, one of the other things really quick, since we're talking Canadian, and you guys probably should see this if you haven't seen it already, and something I failed to talk about, but I should be talking about it, is this massive move in crude. But don't forget, crude is at actually channel resistance right now. So even though we hit a new high, this is the thing about chasing the markets when they hit new highs when you're in a channel, right? So it hits a new high and then the bottom falls out. So it really punishes anybody who's chasing trends. I mean, that's when you get John G'd, and you never want to get John G'd. I mean, that's horrible. So, you chase the market higher in a trend and then, you get John G'd and then it moves lower. So, you got to worry about that right here when you're in an ascending channel. So just a little heads up. Also, it's 161% extension, by the way, of the high to low right there. So, and that's the October to December move. Yeah, right there. So anyway, Dale, I know you do have an interview. Remember, you guys check out the trader funding program. Go to the very bottom of the site. Right at the bottom, there's a 2-minute video. It'll give you an explainer about what it is, like a brief explainer, so you guys can have an understanding of what the drawdowns are and stuff like that. And remember, you're in a demo environment, and then you can, once you qualify, you get to access a lot more cash and trade a lot bigger accounts. So that's it for me. Ryan, K-Man, Stelios, do you guys have anything else for anybody?
No, I think I'm cool.
Smash it, bro.
Smash it, boys.
And you know what? I think Stelios had to bow out because I think he had to take off. And K-Man, thanks for joining us, even though it was very brief. Thanks for joining us here. Dale, have a great interview, and we'll see you guys on the flip side on the Morning Edge in about 45 minutes. For those of you that ForexAnalytix subscribers, see you there. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Where'd Dale go? Dale, you got to unmute.
Thank you, Dream Team.
There he is. All
right. All right, Dave. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back. Nice to hear everybody's voice again.
Yeah, what an environment.
The market never lets us sleep, huh? Always different.
Yeah. So I look forward to talking to you because, you have the ability to focus in on sectors that are out of favor, that you're looking for some type of turn. So uranium was, your first, when you first came on, you were talking about the uranium stocks, a year or so ago. And we had a pop yesterday. I follow Roy, I believe it is.
Sure. Uranium Royalty Corp.
Yeah. What was the news? Is it just Russia?
Well, we've talked about the supply and demand fundamentals that are at levels that would suggest that whether Russia, Ukraine happened or not, uranium was ripe for a very, very strong breakout move to the upside. But the catalyst here just makes things potentially go much faster, much quicker, and much sooner. And so, yes, it's Russia. Russia produces about and exports about 20% of the world's uranium. So if Russia starts sanctioning uranium exports and some of the enrichment that they do, then that creates a huge catalyst. But what's unique about this trade right now, just from a fundamental standpoint, is even if Russia doesn't do the sanctions on the uranium export, utilities cannot count on Russia anymore. And they realize this now. And more recently, 2 days ago, Germany came out and they said that they're going to start strongly considering extending the life of their nuclear reactors, which they had said that they would shut down because Germany's stuck, right? They can't rely on Russian gas. Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Germany is one of the
Good
biggest,
point.
if not the biggest countries in the world in terms of nuclear fuel use back in the last cycle. And then they've effectively shut themselves off.
Yeah, this has been kind of a watershed event for Germany in many ways. They're building up their defense budget, and they went along with the pipeline. And really, I think that Germany is on the verge. They already are the euro. I think they're going to become, even more dominant as they build up their military. It's almost like we're in a time machine. So, Germany and Russia have some deep memories historically. They both invaded each other's countries.
Yeah, as a student of history, this is all very, very eerie, and families from that part of the world. So it's very tragic to watch it repeat itself once again.
Yeah. So uranium. The marijuana stocks are way out of favor. No one talks about them anymore. Do you see any kind of heartbeat in any of those?
Well, precisely. Actually, in my weekend review, we cover the marijuana stocks every single weekend. And here's a chart. Here's a weekly chart of the Marijuana ETF based in Canada, the HMMJ. And as you see here, and I apologize for using a small screen. Kids and family are sleeping in my office right now. But in any event, this is the Marijuana ETF. And you see here that we are in a massive cup and handle formation. Now, I'm going to let the market tell me when this is going to break out over here around that 6 to 630 level. But when that breaks out, you're going to see a major move to the upside. And if it's backed by fundamentals versus just deep value investors, then you can get a sharp move, potentially all the way back to this 20 level.
Like Congress doing something so they could have bank accounts?
Well, precisely. In fact, I was talking to some investors in the marijuana space, and they're pretty confident that something's going to happen in these next 2 years. Of course, it's the election cycle. We've got a lame duck president. What way to potentially get something done, but with marijuana to stimulate that voter base?
Yeah. Well, how about the government's huge deficits and looking for another revenue source? The states are doing pretty good, right?
Yeah. We'll take California, for example, right? The states are doing pretty good, but they're so dependent on technology and the revenue from Silicon Valley. Well, if technology, as it has over the last couple of months, just been creamed, then where are you going to get revenue from other than tech? Right. So they have to diversify. And the key here is diversification, right? Whether it's countries and their energy sources or tax bases, et cetera. I think it's very important into the cycle that we're going into.
Okay.
So go ahead, Dale.
No, go ahead.
So I just wanted to show you what I'm seeing on the charts with regard to uranium. And it's just very timely that we're having this conversation. Here's the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. And I'll just zoom out into a monthly chart here. You see here the rounded bottom that we had, and that we are just now on the edge here. I'll just delete this. We're on the very edge, in my opinion, precipice of breaking out above the 16 level, and then it's effectively blue sky from there. I could see us at 25 very, very quick. Now, I would have said we would have gotten there regardless of the Russia situation, but you can see how quickly this catalyst can really spur things forward. Now, unlike oil, that sector is pretty saturated, right? Most of the
it's the most crowded trade on the board.
Exactly right. Whereas very few people are talking about uranium, and I think that space is starting. The hedge funds, I know, just privately, the hedge funds are starting to buy in mass in the uranium space, and it's very early. Here, take a look at the URA ETF. That's the Global Uranium ETF. And if you just extend this back, monthly chart from 2011, these are the Fukushima highs. It was over 140, and you see how much it's fallen. And we're just right now starting to potentially break out of this pattern. And we're up another couple percentage points pre-market. But if we break above this 20 previous highs around 30 here, I mean, that's blue sky territory. And again, very few people outside of my community, the Twitter uranium community, are really talking about it. Similarly, on a similar trade is rare earth metals. I remember back in 2007 where the rare earth market was just exploding higher, right? And not too many people are talking about it now, but here's a monthly chart of the rare earth chart from 2011, right? Similar to uranium, kind of blue sky potential here. So those are the three areas that I'm really looking at. I mean, you have commodities right now like lithium, and anything that's tied to clean energy is starting to, I mean, it has the supply and demand fundamentals, but again, the Russian invasion here has been a catalyst for a lot of these to really reignite.
Are you disappointed with what's happening in Russia? The underperformance of the silver miners? I know you follow those too.
You know what? You took the words straight out of my mouth. During my weekend review, I said that I would be actually quite cautious on gold and silver right now in terms of trading the miners, because first you look at the monthly breakout or the monthly chart here on gold, right? That looks like a beautiful cup and handle breakout that I would expect to see well above 2000. Yet when you look at the gold majors here, they're barely moving. And yes, I mean, they're potentially breaking out here, and maybe there's a catalyst that takes them, but but bottom line is there's not that leadership that I would expect to see from the miners. And when you look at the silver majors here,
it's worse.
It's worse, right? They're all the way at the bottom of this channel. So whereas I would expect them to be here around the 50 level. So from my vantage point, there's too much risk to be invested in the miners right now. I'd rather, if I were a believer, and I am, of gold, given the geopolitical
buy a
risk.
flush, Dave.
That's right.
Wait for one more washout. Maybe silver trades under that 2140 level, and the miners. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, wait for the flush, or just buy call options on the metal. They're probably pretty expensive now, but there's a lot less risk than holding miners if there is that last flush out.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm known as an interrupter. I'm working on it.
No problem at all. And then here's copper here. Copper is also very interesting. We're very, very close to a very strong breakout. Here are the copper miners, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see leadership quality on these moves. And I'm not seeing in gold and silver, but copper I am. So find these miners like Freeport McMoran, right? That are that have exposure to gold, but have exposure to copper. And I think you're going to be in great shape. I mean, look at this copper monthly chart. We're basing here at the very highs. And once we break out above roughly here around 480, 490, I mean, that's a major move to the upside and to all-time highs. So really, those are the areas that I'm watching. I think that there's some value, believe it or not, in growth tech, like the ARC ETF and so on. I'm watching Bitcoin as your panelists, co-panelists have said. I mean, these are some very interesting channels and very pure technical channels. And this is a breakout. Make no mistake about it. I mean, we're at 44,500 right now. And I think we're probably going back to 60,000, if not higher, on the heels of these geopolitical sanctions.
Yeah, I've been noticing that the last high we had was a second drive. You see how you're stuffed and confirm your RSI. And it looks like, it comes in threes. So that would imply a new high. Yeah.
I think that's where we're headed. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of these areas. Going back to uranium when we last spoke back in November, and I think that's when it was. Perhaps it was January.
Yeah.
Don't remember
Yeah.
at this point, but we had what happens often is you have this secondary attempt at a breakout, and and for whatever reason, momentum just doesn't follow. I think a weekly chart would show that better, right? We had this breakout here on 30, but momentum just couldn't quite make a new high, and sell off we did. And now we found support, and now we're going back to retest those previous highs and very likely going to break them on the third attempt.
Great looks today, Dave, like usual. Really, and your demeanor, you have a great demeanor for being a trader. Were you born with that paradigm, or did you have to work on becoming detached and objective?
I probably a combination of both, and I appreciate. I mean, I think it's rooted in the fact that I'm at the end of it all, I'm a fundamental investor, right? I like fundamentals. I like supply and demand. I like studying balance sheets. But I think technicals really tell you where the markets are likely headed, and they give you the probabilities that are so critical.
Best way for people to follow your great work?
Well, it's at Twitter, at Moneyology, MONIOLOGY, and then you can find us on Patreon /Moneyology. But Twitter, we're very active there, and you can DM me, and I try to be active with the community as much as I possibly can.
Okay, and you do, like you said, you have a group that you get together. You were talking about that you recently had one, and I took the words out of your mouth regarding the silver miners. People can, is there a fee to join that?
Yeah, well, we don't have an active feed due to other obligations I have, but on Patreon, I do make weekly videos. I tend to make about 3 videos a week on various different sectors, but over the weekend, we do a weekend review where we analyze all these various different charts from multiple time frames and try to get a better sense of what the market's trying to tell us. And very often it's unclear, like where we are today. But once in a while, you find some of these diamonds in the rough, like marijuana. And if you catch the trend at the right time, you can make a really nice income. Well,
Dave, I want to thank you for donating your views and your hard work and your great looks, and for the community to consider other things that you brought to the table today. So thank you, my trading warrior brother.
Dale, always a pleasure. Stay safe, and let's hope this whole conflict resolves peacefully very soon.
Here's my expression with hope, Dave. Hope is the oxygen in our lives and the carbon monoxide in our trading.
That's I ought to put that on my wall. That's a great one.
All right, buddy.
Okay,
I'll talk to you. We'll get together again in the summer. All right.
Look forward to it.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
Everyone, Dave at Moneyology is where you could follow him on Twitter. Great looks in uranium, and my favorite sector is marijuana shares. So you could join the team in 27 minutes. And it's not always how long an interview is. It's quality, not quantity, right? Dave got it done. So everyone go out there and get a piece of uranium and glow. Let's glow before Vladimir makes us glow. All right. Adios, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Good luck on Turnaround Tuesday. Adios. Thank you, Dave.